instead I want to talk about a redistricting suit that we brought here, and that was the real reason that Mr. Block said, Fred, would you come down here and talk to us and tell us about the lawsuit? About a year and a half ago, Peter Earle, Sachin Chetta, James Hall, and one or two other people got together, and we said, we can't see what's happening and allow this to continue, this excessively partisan redistricting proposal that the Republicans passed 2 years ago, or passed after the last decade, at the end of the 211 session of the legislature. It is literally the most partisan redistricting plan passed anywhere in the United States. And I will get into that and how we know that. We said we have to do something. And we thought about, there have been some case law, and particularly there have been some dicta in some of the prior Supreme Court decisions that said some of the justices, particularly Justice Kennedy, was very concerned about defining and prohibiting excessively partisan redistricting. There was a case called Vandermeer versus Davis that happened probably 20 years ago, in which Kennedy said, I don't like partisan redistricting, but I can't define it. And because I can't define it, I don't know how we can prohibit it. So we kept meeting in Milwaukee and said, what can we do? And I ran into an old friend of mine named Bill Whitford. And those of you who went to law school will remember Professor Whitford is just retired from the University of Wisconsin Law Faculty. And he said, Fred, I'm happy to join you. And he said, you know, there's a lawyer in New York named Hills, who's an expert on redistricting. Why don't we send all this information we've accumulated about how the Wisconsin legislature did its job and how they did it in secret and how they did all the things that we thought was illegal, and send it to him and see what he thinks about it. He sent us back instead an article written by two professors, one named Nick Stephanopoulos from the University of Chicago, and one from a fellow out in California. And we read the article and it was like, this guy has the formula for how you define partisan redistricting. And it turns out that he had examined, the two professors had examined every redistricting decision made in the 211, after the 211 census, for single member districts in the lower house of the legislature and for congressional districts. And they evaluated them on a sort of wasted vote theory. And we called him up and said, do you care to join us? He said, I'd love to join you. And so he came up and he showed us that nationally, Wisconsin ranked as the most outrageous and most partisan redistricting, and that under any set of fair elections, the most Wisconsin Democrats would ever win would be 39 seats out of the 99 seats. But he did one other thing. He brought along